This shit. Candles and wicks, going long for a touchdown. See you when I touchdown. We gon' get it in. Candles and wicks, online hitting licks. Candles and wicks, I can't get enough of this shit. Candles and wicks, going long for a touchdown. See you when I touchdown. We gon' get it in. I'm making trades with my eyes closed. I bet you wonder what I do behind closed doors. Buy low, say a high, that's my motto. I'm trying to make $1 million for the market close. I know you probably thinking, damn, how he do that? Lost it, got it right back. Tripled my account and did it all without no contact. Social distancing. That's a whole nother story, dawg. Jesus get the glory, dawg. I don't want no props, I just want the profit. Put it in my pocket, bullets like a rocket. Want it, I'ma copy it, cause I'm plugged in like a socket.
Alright, that music was by Crown Chakra on YouTube. You can source them out on YouTube, Spotify, also on OpenSea. They're selling some of their music as NFTs on OpenSea with some art attached to it. You can't listen to the full song unless you actually purchase the NFT, and then you get access to that. So that actually leads us into the next portion that I want to cover before I get started in Halo today, because oftentimes I go across my timeline on Twitter and we run into a whole bunch of hate. And so I'm just gonna bring up that situation. I wanted to bring it up. I'm gonna talk about it real quickly. You can have your own opinions on this, but I just say listen for a second, form your own opinion, and yeah, we'll go from there. Because that's how people actually get smart, is by forming their own opinion. Go figure. School doesn't teach you that enough. So I was scrolling across Twitter, and this guy said, came across the street. I had to do it to him. It says Peter Miller. So Peter Miller thinks he's a smart guy or something. So Shah here says, don't scroll past this tweet without showing me your most recent picture in your camera roll. Now, I guarantee you, Shah does not give a fuck that Peter Miller does this, because Shah thinks of Peter Miller as an idiot. If you're doing stuff like this, you just look really desperate. It would be like somebody else has a new pair of Jordans on or something like that, and then you like copped a pair of like Skechers from the corner grocery store and like painted the Jordan logo on them, and then we're like, look, I got the Jordans, and it's like, no, you're a broke boy and you're desperate is what you are. That's literally what crypto people feel like, Also, the term crypto bros, which everybody uses, I feel like that's super cringe, because number one, it's exclusionary. It's exclusionary, and like you just don't know. You don't know a whole bunch about what you're talking about. But let's keep going. Maybe you do. Maybe you do actually know more about what you're talking about, and you're just not presenting it in the right manner to make people that are actually invested in crypto think that you're smart. So Janice down here says, I don't understand the hate towards something that you don't understand. Likewise, I really don't. Like, oftentimes people are super hateful about crypto and NFTs and stuff like that. And most of the time, their response to why they're hateful about crypto and NFTs, because, if you're going to be hateful about something, of course, you've got a great reason about why it's okay to be so hateful about something. Because hate is always good, right? Hate drives out hate, like the great Martin Luther King said, right? Hate drives out hate. Giannis here says, I don't understand the hate towards something you don't understand. And most of these people really just don't understand. Some of them are actually saying it in their comments, and they're like, because they started to talk about non-fungible versus replicable. And people were like, well, I don't understand the difference then. And it's like, if you don't understand the difference between non-fungible and replicable, then why are you so upset? And why are you saying this shit? But here's a guy hiding behind a Fozzie Bear gif. And this is what he's got to say. Let's look at this. So first off, Mr. Fozzie Bear doesn't actually say anything in his own words. I think he does later on in some tweets, but his first response is not his own understanding. It's something else that he found from somebody else, and that's how he's going to present this. So let's go through it. Why are NFTs bad to Mr. Fozzie Bear, aka BTPIRG? Great name. I don't know what it means. A number of reasons, apparently. The non-fungible, non-reproducible, false. We just covered that kind of, but that's not what NFTs are about. It's not about not being reproducible. You can reproduce certain NFTs. It depends on what goes into the smart contract. If the smart contract is made in a way that the NFTs can be reproduced, then they'll continue to be reproduced. The same way that if you have art and you want to take that canvas painting and produce a whole bunch of them in a digital copy form, you can do that. Go figure. But you have to actually be willing to learn this stuff. So that's false. The first statement so far is false. Part of NFTs is usually just a receipt pointing, usually. So, Kinda. It depends on what you use. And like, this is what I would say. Most retail investors, I was just listening to something from Fox earlier, and they kind of got that right on the Fox channel. But most retail investors in general got screwed over when they're investing in cryptocurrencies or whatever the fuck, or stocks. And that's because they don't know what they're doing. They decided and I'm going to buy stocks for the first time. And so I'm going to use Robinhood. That's not smart. I'm going to buy crypto for this first time, and so I'm going to use Robinhood. That's definitely not smart. That's against the entire concept of cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. Like, then you don't understand what you're investing in, but you do see it as a money grab. And so you specifically are somebody, whoever, like these type of people that are upset, and like maybe, whatever. But like people that get caught up in that specifically are the money grubbers. These are people that are like, oh, I can make a quick buck. And then they don't actually read into anything else. Meanwhile, the biggest like concept in cryptocurrencies, do your own research. Do your own research so that you don't get screwed over. And when you don't do that research, guess what? You oftentimes get screwed over. That's why people say it though. But let's keep going. I don't want to get too wrapped up in any one thing. Meaning it's possible for the art to disappear and NFTs become functionally useless, pointing to a 404 page not found. So this point that they're trying to make about like what happens if the NFT is hosted somewhere, it's hosted on some website or whatever, some server, and then the server goes down. What happens if the server goes down? Well, one thing, I'm going to start this off with one thing. What happens when Twitter is not usable because AWS servers go down, or when Facebook or Instagram goes down? Guess what? People have to work on getting those back up. So what cryptocurrency has done to combat this is a lot of times these NFTs, different projects, what most normies don't know is smarter NFT projects. Now, if somebody's just trying to be money hungry and grubby, then they won't do all the smart things that you can do behind it. Go figure. They'll be lazier because you're letting them get away with it. But if they're smarter, they actually sharded it, aka broke it down into pieces across different servers, because you can do that, or it's being hosted via different computers. So similar to the BitTorrent chain, and how BitTorrent hosts different images and whatnot. I believe IFPS actually works similar to this, but it really just depends on the project. So that's not entirely true as far as like things just disappearing, because it depends on how it's being hosted, and things can be hosted in more than one way. Now, of course, again, if you're going into a project and the person who's developing the project is a little bit lazier, then they probably didn't take all that type of stuff into consideration. And whose fault is that truly? Like, if you go into a store and you buy a piece of fruit, and then you get home and you look at the backside of that piece of fruit and it's got mold on it, whose fault is that? Is it the store's fault, really? Because you had an option to pick the fruit up and actually turn around and look at it, and you just didn't do it in the time because you were going so quickly about it. Because I just wanted some fruit. Like, I don't think it's necessarily the store's fault at that point. Not if you actually took it, put it in your basket, walked out the door with it. It's not really the store's fault at that point. You had tons of opportunity, and so feel how you want about that. But people have all sorts of freedom. Maybe you wanted a more, or you could say that with a banana. A banana is an even better example of fruit with that, because sometimes a ripe banana is what you want, and other times you want a banana that's a little bit what is it called when they're like decomposing more, but you want one that's a little bit more decomposing for like a banana bread or something like that. But it depends, and so you need to do that research for yourself. When you don't do that research, you often end up screwed over, and you have this negative opinion about new technology, the same way people have felt about ripped jeans or the computer in general, or the radio or the television. The list goes on and on. People have felt this way about everything that comes out. But let's keep going. So that's their thing with that first portion. And like, to my response to this first ticket up top is just that not necessarily true. Like, it could be the case, but that's only the case if specifically the NFT that you're buying is specifically only used as a profile picture NFT. So there's a whole section of NFTs that are specifically for profile picture NFTs. And then, depending on the seriousness of that project and those developers, maybe they have plans to actually develop a game behind that, but they are using that as funding. And that's where you need to do your own research. They are using those sales as funding for a larger portion of the project, but it's just a funding mechanism, the same way that we let things like crowdfunding sites, Kickstarters and stuff like that exist, and they don't give you anything for that. Well, instead here you're giving a profile picture, and they develop things, and since it is a receipt, like you're saying, well, then they can still invite you to something else, and if they want to hand you a shirt one day because you have that receipt, then they can do that, and that it already has more value than a lot of other products. But that's that portion of things. We're going to go on to the next one. Some art is generated based off of unique token ID. True. Meaning a given piece of art is tied to the ID within the system. Again, true. But this art is usually laughably ugly. Subjective. So go and throw in your own. This is like almost like Fox News right there when you like, I'm going to make this a truthful thing, but then I throw in the subjectiveness. That's super subjective. Made by a bot who can generate millions of soulless pieces of art. So here's the other thing. Usually when those bots are generating the art and stuff like that, the more successful projects actually, when you do that generative bot type of art, now you can do some where it's just like, I'm just going to have the bot do it entirely. But truth be told, somebody has to, at some point down the line, design those different pieces, those generative pieces. Like the bot will put them together, but somebody does have to actually create that art. And so usually there is an artist being hired somewhere down the lines, and an actual artist is actually doing all of that art. And then the bot decides, okay, you're going to get this hat, this nose, this jacket, that's what the bot does. But the concept this person's bringing forth is like, you haven't even done the smallest bit of research to understand that portion. So why would I continue to listen to you? But let's keep going, because I feel like this is maybe important. So other people will probably never listen to this and like actually care, or they'll keep their own opinions. And I don't really care if you keep your own opinion, but I do feel like it's important to say this type of stuff, because somebody needs to be saying it, other than like, because most crypto people just give up on the conversation. We're like, all right, you want to be stupid until the news tells you that, you should do that, or whatever influencer is making enough money off of you tells you that you should be able to do it now. And then you'll do it because you're a fucking sheep. Let's keep going. Also, and this is like a sub point, someone could just right click and save a piece of generated art. Like, you mean like the way that I could just right click and save this? But what's that going to do? That's not going to give you the damn receipt. As you were just saying, if you do that, that doesn't make you the actual owner of it, because you don't have the receipt. And in cryptocurrency, you don't actually, like, if I go to CoinGecko right now, this place right here, if I go here and I see this, I'm like, yeah, I could right click the Bitcoin symbol and save it to my computer. That doesn't mean that I own any fucking Bitcoin. I look like an idiot for thinking that I own Bitcoin for doing that. You're like, I own this many Bitcoins because the screen says it right now. Like, no, unless that amount of Bitcoin shows up in your wallet, which is locked behind private keys and other like sensitive, like, it's locked behind sensitive information. But unless it's actually appearing in your wallet, unless that receipt appears in your wallet, this is what a wallet looks like. I'll click on one of those for you. Unless that is actually appearing in your wallet, then you don't actually own it. And that's how NFTs work. Unless your NFT is actually in your wallet. Let me show you guys what an NFT looks like on a blockchain. And like, I'm not going to be able to view the NFT from the thing that I'm using, because certain things are often made so that you can view the NFT. And guess what? If somebody has a receipt for something and a server goes down, they can use another server. And since it's linked to that receipt, that ID, then they can just give you another image, or they can update that image. And oftentimes NFT projects are made in a way that they can actually update over time. That's how the smarter ones actually do it. They don't want to just give you one thing. They actually make it so that it can update over time. And so like a server going down, well, if you have that receipt and you have that in your wallet, it doesn't matter. It does not matter, because they can just pick a new server and put it on that. And then you can view it that way. So that argument is like super null. But here's some NFTs that I have over here. Here's a T-Punk NFT. So the Tron CryptoPunks NFT. Meebits. And then this one's called Fan. This is a celebrity-based project. And so I just bought a few of these. And I got them very early, but it doesn't matter. This is what I got. I got some of this. Okay. And so if I wanted to, I could go to the websites and I can view those. And they are hosted via different servers and stuff like that. But I don't really care for that right now. This is the only way that I would be able to confirm that I'm actually the owner of it, because guess what? It shows up in my freaking wallet. It shows up in my wallet. And anybody else who right clicks on it, you can't even see my T-Punk right now, but anybody else who right clicks on it, even if they were to like right click on the image and be like, oh, look, I got this same T-Punk, because it does show up in my, I'm using it as my Discord avatar for my T-Punk. But you right click, go ahead, right click and save my T-Punk. I don't care. Because it's not in your wallet. And if somebody asked you to like, okay, well, you can't get in the building unless I can see that it's in your wallet, and you can't prove that it's in your wallet, well, then you look desperate outside of that club. And I can't wait till it starts becoming a case where people have to get into a club with the fucking NFT, and you just look that fucking desperate. You probably won't go because you're too broke to go to that club. Like, if you're actually making that type of argument, probably won't go. So let's go past this portion. That part, just like, that should really just dismantle that portion. So we had some subjective claims being made there, and then this person actually doesn't understand that you can switch from server to server, and that ID is helping you the same way that a receipt would help you. You can skip from state to state and whatever the heck and give it off to somebody else, and if they have that damn receipt and they take it back to the store, guess what? You get compensated. Whoever had the receipt gets compensated for it. And so it's a way of being compensated regardless of the server. So maybe this person just doesn't understand receipts when they say that. So whatever. All right, next point. However, NFTs are marketed as if they're selling you the art itself. So oftentimes with NFT platforms, and this depends on the platform itself, they are selling you the art itself. When you have the NFT, when you have access to the NFT, like how I have this right here, these in my wallet, oftentimes you can't get the highest quality of NFT. So other than the things that I just explained with it, where, you know, it can be redirected to your wallet or whatever, or, you know, change servers, whatever the heck, as long as you have that in your wallet, then it'll be going, you know, the benefits go to you. So other than the benefits going to you, which one, where were we at? Right there. Oh, yeah. The art itself, and the original display modes and stuff like that isn't the full quality of that art. It's like going to Google and typing in, like, you know, if I were to hit like images over here or something like that, and I just like save the first image off of these pages, like I'm just going to save like this image right here. Guess what happens when you just save that image? It's a lower quality. You have to at least pop open the image, view it as the source, and then you get a higher quality of that image. But most people just go for the lower quality and they think they're doing something smart. And it's like, that's also a lower quality. So number one, you look stupid for downloading a lower quality. And put that, let's keep going. So there's that portion of things. And the next layer of NFTs, or it already exists. There's certain platforms and things like that where you actually just can't even view. You can't even view the NFT. You can't even view it unless you have it in your wallet and you go to a certain, like, there's just certain ways where you won't even be able to view them in general. So most people, like, you know, right now we're in an era where people are showing you their NFTs and stuff like that, and you can just see them and different things like that. But you won't even be able to view them in some of these forms. Okay, so where were we? Right clicking, making the non-fungible part questionable. So this person, like, I already get the idea. They don't understand what non-fungible means. So non-fungible means that if you have two apples and you're like, these apples are non-fungible, that means that Apple 1 and Apple 2, and maybe one's slightly bigger or something like that, Apple 1 and Apple 2 are not inherently the same exact price. You're not going to pay 25 cents for, somebody can pay whatever price they want. It's almost like a bartering system for that apple. And that's what non-fungible means. But this person's kind of getting off the idea that they don't actually understand what non-fungible means. And so we're going to go past that portion too, because I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, my guy. As you can right click, remember the NFT is only a receipt. Not really. So the NFT is a receipt in a way, in a concept, as a concept. Because the receipt is a receipt, you know what I'm saying? But the NFT is a little bit more than that. But you can imagine if the receipt actually, if you had a receipt that every time that you held it up to something, it actually interacted with a different code all around the internet. And if you presented this receipt that you had to whatever, you know, phone or device or something like that, and it interacted with it actually, then that would be an NFT. And how do you know what it interacts with? Well, it depends on the developers, and it depends on who they partner with. You can have many different use cases for it. You can keep expanding those partnerships and stuff like that. But you're not going to be able to do any of that with the image that you right click. If you right click something and that NFT that somebody actually owns decides to partner with another project, you don't get any benefits from that. You don't. You know, over the last a few weeks, multiple projects have done airdrops of cryptocurrency tokens to people who have bought NFTs on OpenSea, or people that own specific NFTs from whatever platform or project. And guess who didn't get any of those NFTs? People that just right click them, or not NFTs, but the cryptocurrency. And oftentimes these cryptocurrencies have been like double digit, triple digit, you know, whatever the heck amounts. I got like a few, like it was like $80 or something like that from like some airdrop, and like another $200 from another airdrop. And I haven't claimed them because I'm like, I don't really care about it right now. But I have that opportunity because I actually own those NFTs. And you know who doesn't have that opportunity? Anybody who's just right clicking. You just look desperate. You're honestly just promoting somebody else's work. And that's all you're doing. And so it's like, whatever. If you don't really understand it, you don't care to understand. Like, at some point, I get tired of, people just get tired of trying to explain it to you. But however, NFTs are marketed as selling you the art itself. And it's because they are. And they're selling you more than just the art, if you actually know what the hell you're talking about. This is rightly called out by just about everybody. You can decentralize receipts because those are small and plain text, inexpensive to log in the blockchain, but the art needs to be hosted somewhere. If the server where art is hosted goes down, your art is gone. To a degree. Again, I kind of explained that like multiple times over earlier, so I'm not going to go back into it. NFT mentors are often art thieves. NFT mentors? Okay, so the person who mints an NFT actually is the person who is purchasing the NFT. So oftentimes, from this person who's probably never bought an NFT in their life, just so that you know Noah dies slowly. People that mint NFTs are often the person who is purchasing the NFT, not the person who created it as a project or whatever. And so if you're purchasing something as a theft, that just doesn't make sense. You actually just don't know what you're talking about in that sense. Most NFT projects that are 10,000 NFTs or whatever the heck specifically, and they're like, oh, there's only going to be 10,000 of these profile pictures or whatever. They don't mint those 10,000. They go, it starts at 0, and then somebody comes along and they purchase and they mint it for, a small fraction of money. Like, $5. That's how much the initial mints are worth usually, or something like that. And then the market decides the price of it. But you don't know that because you've never actually participated in this, but you've got so many opinions and you're so smart. I'm like, I just feel like, with me, like even things that I'm like, oh, I don't like that or something like that. I usually go in and try to like utilize them or learn about them through hand practice or something like that, Like, I feel like the best way to learn about like the Ku Klux Klan or something like that would be to actually sit down on a fucking party or something, or learn about them, actually read up on it and like learn from them. Like, not just people that are like, oh, it's so bad, so bad, so bad. Like, you need to actually learn from people, like, because you can have your own opinions from seeing what's happened, but you're not going to actually learn about that entity and why they do those things or whatever if you don't actually get somewhat immersed in it. And people that this guy's obviously like never fucking, you've never minted an actual NFT, otherwise you wouldn't be saying that stupid statement. Because NFT minters are that you sound dumb. Minting others' work and trying to spin a profit. And like I will say that this trying to spin a profit is a large portion of what the NFT market has become. But that's no different than the art market, why people buy traditional art, like, quite honestly. And so like we know this, we know this, man, that the NFT market has become something that is challenging traditional art. And if you were to ask me, honestly, I would prefer like an NFT art versus like some fucking Van Gogh thing on the wall that I got to worry about. Like, oh, well, if this thing is 20 more years old, you got to put it behind a certain box and you can't move it. And if it jingles from an earthquake, it'll just fucking evaporate because whatever. Like, I'm not really that interested in that. In your fucking legacy monetary system. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in propping that old man up and his fucking family and whatever I'm not interested in that shit. No, I'm not. I'm interested in new technology. So yes, lots of people are just trying to get in there and profit. But as I explained earlier in today's stream, a lot of these people that are trying to get that profit don't understand that some NFTs are strictly just profile picture NFTs. Don't understand that receipt, as it says, interacts with smart contracts. Don't understand that when you mint an NFT, you're often not the creator of the damn NFT project. You're somebody who's purchasing that NFT. They don't often understand these things, but they go in and they think that I can just flip this and maybe make some money. And a lot of people are good at it, but the people who are good at it and making money off of it understand more than you, hater. And so going in and trying to like, oh, I'm going to be super cynical about this and maybe try to flip some profits. Oh, I failed. It's your own fault, no? But whatever. The anonymous nature of NFTs makes it hard to crack down on it. So if a project is anonymous, why would you contribute to it? Certain projects are anonymous for a reason, and people like them for that anonymity. And then other ones, aren't. There's tons of NFT projects that aren't anonymous, and if you don't want to get screwed over, then oftentimes we call doxing themselves or whatever. And you find devs and project leaders that aren't anonymous. Whoa, that actually exists in crypto, and it's a big thing that people actually care about. But you wouldn't know that because you're busy just strictly hating on it. Man, go figure. All right, so the anonymous nature of NFT makes it hard to crack down on, and moderation is poor in NFT communities. I feel like you've never been in an NFT community, but whatever. A lot of people get muted and shit. They usually don't allow FUD at all in NFT communities or certain types of FUD and stuff like that. And FUD is fear, uncertainty, and doubt from people that don't actually understand the project, and they're just like, oh, it's going down, and like they're like, moderators will get on you for that. But they know so much. Page two, artists who get into NFTs with a sincere hope of making money. This is a funny one. Making money are often hit with a harsh reality that they're losing more money to minting NFTs. So now they get that, this right here. So now the artist is actually, they think the artist is specifically minting all of the NFTs or something. To minting NFTs of their art is making in profit. This is another thing where I'm like, you're just not that smart. You haven't looked into enough things. You've maybe done like 1 or 2 hours of research. You haven't looked into it enough. But that's on you. And do I want to help you through it? to make you more? Not necessarily. Not if you're just going to be hating the entire time. They'd be like challenging somebody in basketball, and they're like LeBron James level, and you're just shitting on them the whole time. And then you're like, well, then teach me how to shoot so well. And they're like, why the fuck would I teach you how to shoot better when you like hating on me the entire time coming up to me? Now you want me to help you? Maybe not. But this person says, each individual minted art piece costs about 70 to 100 USD to mint. This is totally false. Anytime that somebody gives you a specific number of something related to NFTs or cryptocurrency or whatever the heck, they are lying. They are lying and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Why am I saying that? Because the price of Ethereum is constantly fluctuating, for one. Because the price of Cardano, another cryptocurrency blockchain, is constantly fluctuating, for one. So how can you have this specific price based on the cost of an NFT? How much does it cost to mint an NFT on Solana, which is raising up the charts and stuff like that? It's a centralized project, honestly. But how much does it cost on that? It's not $70 to $100, fam. You don't actually know what you're talking about. If you're spending $70 to $100 to mint your NFT project, you don't know what you're doing. And if you did do that and you do know what you're doing, then you did it for a specific reason. But that's unheard of. That's actually like, it's like if you said that to people that actually know cryptocurrency and you were like, oh yeah, I got screwed because it costs so much. Like, they'd probably laugh you the fuck out of the room. They'd be like, you're dumb. And I don't know how you got in here. Cause no, it doesn't, if I were to just mint off NFTs individually, we often talk about the Wax blockchain over here. Wax. We often talk about Wax, an eco-friendly, carbon-free or carbon-neutral blockchain. All these NFTs that people mint over here and stuff like that do not cost $80 each for them to put this NFT on this marketplace. Number one, the person who's minting the NFT is often the person who's purchasing the NFT. And if the company or the individual artist or whatever the heck, if they're going to mint an NFT straight out first or whatever the heck, let me see if I can do this really quick. Because it's going to cost me so much to make an NFT, right? Let me click in one of these. So, oops. I'm going to one of these with a schema already. It's this one. Okay. So I'm just gonna click this one. All right. So this is if I wanted to actually mint an NFT. I could mint an NFT right here. And this is like a messed up project that I did. Mint new NFT. Let's see how much it's gonna cost me. I'm just gonna click this because I don't really care. I'm gonna choose my own picture. I just want to see what it says. Right. That's all we care about right now. That's fine. One. Create asset. Let's see how much money this thing is going to cost me. Let's see how much money this is going to cost me, right? So I'm about to mint this NFT of this Halo Infinite Trophy K right here, right? And this is if I just wanted to mint it. But Money Match Gaming has our NFT set up in a way that, guess what? Most of the people that engage with us actually mint the NFT, and it costs them nothing. But let's see, I'm going to create this NFT here because it cost me $70 to $100 is what this person is telling us, right? I want to create this NFT. Oh, I got to log in first. This is how hard it is to log into new tech and stuff like that when you actually know what the fuck you're talking about. Oops, I clicked the wrong one. Yeah. Deny. Let me try again. Oh no, I logged into the wrong wall. I have to completely log out via this other thing. Smurf. It wasn't going to charge me any money amount. Let me put log out real quick. Let me see if I can log back in really quickly. Cloud wallet. Yeah, I got to reset it. Just want to make the point, bro. I want to show him something. I want to show you guys something. Ugh, I don't want to do it right now. Anyways, the point, because I clicked the wrong email. And I need to go to the wax.io website, which is wax.io or Wax Cloud Wallet or whatever the heck. And I need to log out of the actual website and stuff like that and get back in. But just letting you guys know that at no point in time was this thing actually going to charge me fucking money to mint one of these NFTs. It was going to charge me a small fraction of cryptocurrency because guess what? As with all things in cryptocurrency, do your own research. Do your own research. And if you do your own research, you'll find things like the Wax blockchain. You'll find things like Polygon. A lot of artists that are actually tiptoeing into NFTs and stuff like that. I'm going to type in blockchain. Use Polygon. Ethereum's internet of blockchains. But a lot of people use Polygon. Why? Because it's so much freaking cheaper. It's so much freaking cheaper. If you don't know anything, though, and you're a fucking numbskull, and you're it's all Ethereum, then yeah, you're gonna get screwed over, and everybody else in blockchain is gonna be happy that that you're gone, quite honestly. So there's that portion of things. So most huge sales are actually the seller selling it to themselves under a different wallet. Also not true. Not true. You please prove this. Please prove this. Like, do some projects do that? Yeah. Yeah. And guess what? The investors who've already purchased other NFTs and stuff like that inside of the project appreciate it oftentimes, because guess what? If you bought an NFT for a project, and let's say 100 people own these NFTs for your project, and you've made profit from that. And so you use that profit that you have. This is how these projects actually work. So you use that profit that you actually gained from this NFT, from the sales that you got. Maybe, so you had 100 people buy your NFTs. They all spent $100. So now you have 100 times 100. What's that, like 1,000? 10,000? 10,000? It's like 10,000, I think. So now you got $10,000. What are you going to do with it? You could just, spend it on yourself and stuff like that, or you could reinvest it back into your project. So now you have $10,000 to buy up these NFTs, which were previously only $100. You can actually push the price of your own project up. AKA, if somebody else wants to get in and you bought a bunch of them and something like that, maybe you do some for giveaways or whatever the heck, but it makes it so that all your other investors in your project are actually holding something that's now worth more. And guess what else works like that? E-commerce. Anything in fucking finance. That's actually just how the world works and how you push things up in price. That's just actually how it works. It's called supply and demand. And so they create what's known as artificial demand for that, or just demand for that, but that's what he's trying to explain here. I'm like, I imagine you don't know much about e-commerce and, actual supply and demand. Otherwise you would have mentioned supply and demand within that, but you didn't. So there's a little bit of an econ lesson for folks out there that are listening that, whatever. I shouldn't say it so condescending sounding, but like, and it's just like, it's so silly when people say stuff like that, but whatever. Most utilities, so that's what they think is that's the vast majority of these projects. Also, I'm like, most of these projects don't have the money to be doing that. You think everybody just has millions of dollars to just be doing that? Like, no, most people don't have that, So that's also whatever. So to try to grifters other wait, what? Most huge sales are actually the seller selling it to themselves under a different wallet to try to grift others, into thinking the token is worth more than it is. So they think that people are just trying to swindle others. And like, we've been doing our NFT thing for almost a year now. It's like, please tell me how we've tried to grift anybody. And most of the projects that we're involved with, please tell me how they've done it. Please. Because again, everything is not anonymous. And if you're buying into an anonymous project for the hopes of just getting a whole bunch of money because, NFT market always go up, you're failing yourself. You failed yourself. The same way that if you go to some random fucking website on the internet right now and try to buy Louis Vuitton from whatever the fuck because it has a $5 Louis Vuitton shirt, and then that Louis Vuitton shirt never comes to your address, you failed yourself. You failed yourself for your own stupidity, for not doing more research. And so the exact same thing exists in the cryptocurrency market, of course. Like, maybe choose somebody who's not anonymous next time. Maybe do more research on that website next time. But like, to just come at them because you don't understand shit is kind of stupid. Wallet IDs are not tied to names and therefore are anonymous enough to encourage drumming up fake hype. You know what I like to do in cryptocurrency? You know what most people that are like actually really smart in cryptocurrency like to do? We like to go to blockchain explorers. I'm gonna pop this up on the screen for you. We like to go to blockchain explorers. And if there's like, I have like files where I've actually saved some addresses and stuff like that. But I'm just gonna show you guys real quick. When you find somebody who's purchasing like large amounts of money or whatever, like let's see, I'm gonna go from right here. So it says this is Maker. This is the person who just sold $220, but like, that's not enough money. That's not enough money. Price USD, or that's the price. Excuse me. I want to find a whole bunch. Who's selling a whole bunch of Rev? So I'm going to look through this and I'm going to be like, wow, $24 worth of Rev is a few $1,000s. And so I want to know who this person is. I'm going to click on that. Now I can see their address. I can see what they're doing. And if I want, I can start tracking this person. I can just copy this information and I can track all this person's fucking moves. And as an NFT platform, you know what else I can do? I can ban them from my platform. I can blacklist them from other exchanges and stuff like that. I can put their wallet on high alert for everywhere and stuff like that if you so want to, if you so know how to do so, if you do the research. But not knowing this stuff is like this guy here. Like, you just don't understand that shit exists because you're so focused on trying to tear it apart that you don't look at both sides. Like, there's nothing wrong with trying to tear something apart to find the fails of it. But like, when you don't take the time to actually understand it, then you just sound stupid. And You're not spreading any type of actual information. You're spreading misinformation. Wallet. So yeah, you don't care what somebody's name is in blockchain and cryptocurrency. I don't care. I just know that, yeah, this wallet right here spent that $5,000. And if I want to see what else that wallet is doing, I can do so. I can check out all their damn transactions. I don't need to know their name. I can blacklist this wallet right here from my project if I wanted to. I don't need to know their name. I don't need to know who you are. I just know that, yeah, you better have another wallet or something like that because I'm going to blackball it. And then it's the same way that you got to sneak into whatever fucking store or something like that you got kicked out of in real life. And guess what happens when they find you? The same thing that happens in real life. Go figure. But in the meantime, you can't even get around it. Like, you just can't. So, sound a little silly. Example, if you mint a piece of art, the art is worth, technically speaking, $0 until someone buys it for a price, unless you listed it for a certain amount of money. Same way Etsy works, because like this example kind of already failed because it's worth nothing unless you listed it for some amount. Chances are you did list it for some amount, but if people want to keep dumping it or they want to sell it for underneath, if you pay $5 for something and then you want to list it all the time for $1, well then you're doing what we call in trading, shorting the market. You're intentionally pushing the price down and you're selling it for a lot less. A lot of grocery stores actually do this with their products, so that, and you know why they do this? Because if you buy something for one price and then you sell it for less than your competitors, aka the person who's like the artist that actually is creating this NFT project, then you're creating demand for people to go to you instead of that other place. And so over time, if you get 10,000 people to come to you for $1 and the other place only gets like, a few people to come there, well, maybe you can balance it out. Like in this scenario, I didn't work it out mathematically enough, but the idea behind that is that you can make it so that you have so much demand for people coming to your store versus the other store that the other store just doesn't even matter. And this is where you get retail shops and then big ass factories or whatever, or, like the what we call that, like a Costco. Like, so that's like vending machines versus Costco, basically. So you get the vending machine where it's a little bit, the price is marked up or whatever, or marked down, often. And then you get the Costco place where, you paid $5 for it, but you got a pack of them. But it's knowing actual markets and stuff like that. And again, this person doesn't sound like they understand anything about supply and demand. The price is what the market dictates is the value of the art piece. Yes, it is. Since you're $70 down already, again, that's totally false because why would you be spending $70 fucking dollars? You get the idea to start a second crypto and pretend it's someone else. You sell your art piece, which was probably worth $0 to yourself, for like $12,000. So that's your whole savings account converted into crypto. And if you do that, then guess what? You spent $12,000 on it, and you did put a price tag on something and like say, oh wow, it sold for $12,000. That does not mean that moved the entire floor, because there's something called a floor in NFTs. And in crypto and whatever, one of these, I've seen in most of the NFTs, but the floor price, which means that that's the lowest somebody is willing to sell the item for. And so if you buy an NFT for $12,000 and every other NFT is still selling for $5, that was your own fault. Like, yes, you put it in the books now that somebody did purchase one of these NFTs for an all-time high of $12,000, but that doesn't mean that every single NFT is now worth $12,000. That means one NFT was purchased for $12,000, and it does not mean that you can sell an NFT for $12,000. It means the vast majority of the NFTs are still worth $5. That's the floor is still $5, but you found yours to be so interesting or whatever the heck that you want to spend that amount on. Case in point, an example would be like I just showed you guys my T-Punk over here in my wallet. I paid like $100 for my T-Punk. Justin Sun bought multiple of these T-Punks for like over $1 million. Nobody else has ever spent $1 million on one of these T-Punks. Nobody. But guess who did? Justin Sun, the guy who was in charge of the Tron blockchain. But he decided to spend $1 million as pretty much as advertising for it, because you're like, oh, now you see like, oh, one of these has sold for $1 million before. Does that mean everybody else is going to come in and just spend $1 million? No, but it does get eyeballs on something. The same way that advertising works. People spend millions of dollars on advertising every year, and all because you have a budget of $1 million, that does not mean all of your products in store are worth $1 million. The fuck are you trying to say with this point, my guy? The transaction costs a few more bucks. Again, that depends on the blockchain that you're on. Let me point in case this, because he's trying to say, like, he's trying to make a point for the Ethereum blockchain. These are all different blockchains on my screen right now. I know a lot more than this guy does. He thinks he's smart, but he's not. And I'm like, usually I wouldn't say some shit like that, but I'm like, this guy actually sounds stupid. So transaction costs a few dollars, right? How much is Polygon worth, or Matic? Just for math purposes. So one Matic is $2.16. I'm about to do a trade right now, just because this would be the exact same as if I was moving an NFT. It would cost some amount of cryptocurrency. And so he's trying to make the point that every time that you do a transaction on a blockchain, it costs a few dollars. That's what this guy thinks. So here we go. I am going to sell 10 hex into Matic. Let's see how much is this going to cost. Okay, they say liquidity provider fee is 0.03 hex. So 10 of this 10 hex that I'm moving, 0.03 hex is going to be going to a liquidity provider. I'm going to pop open one or more websites so I can keep open multiple tabs and give you guys accurate numbers. But it's supposed to cost a few dollars by this guy's, right? And OpenSea, oops, it's going to go to this project that I was asking at. OpenSea, as you can see here, has a little Polygon symbol on it, so you can buy things in Polygon, in the Polygon amount. You don't have to use Ethereum, ETH, and Polygon. Oh, imagine that when you do research. Okay, 0.03. That's $0.006. So when I trade this, it's telling me right now that it's going to cost me 0.08 now. Does markets be moving? Markets be moving. When I trade this, it's going to cost me 1 cent of my hex, of that hex. And then, here, let's push this so you guys can see the next thing. So it says it's going to take 1 cent of my hex. 1 cent worth of hex is going to go away from me. And then the total cost of this transaction is 0.027, whatever the heck this amount of Matic. I left out the very last digit, but come on. Don't be that person. It's like less than a fraction of a cent. It's going to cost me 6 cents for this entire transaction to be done. For me to move, 10 hex is a few bucks or something like that, I think, actually. Yeah, $2. So for me to move $2, it's going to cost 6 cents. And that 6 cents is being paid out to other individuals, not to some company or something like that. It's being paid out to people that are putting their money down so that I can make this trade. It's not a few dollars, my guy. And guess what happens if I increase this? Let's see what I increase this. So it's gonna increase the hex amount. Now it costs me 6 hex. But let's see what they say on the blockchain, because this is kind of like his point. Okay, so then now this is I don't know how much 1,000 hex is. Let's see. Now that's $200. I'm gonna move. How much is that gonna cost as a transaction? So push that. 0.00389, whatever the heck. How much money is that? It should be multiple dollars now, right? Oh, it's gonna cost me multiple dollars. It's still about the same fucking amount of money. It's still about 7 cents. 7 cents. So what is this guy talking about? What's this guy in this tweet talking about then? Seriously. What are you talking about then? It's not costing me anywhere near $70. And I could mint an NFT for the exact same cost, because that's how much things cost on this blockchain. When you know what you're talking about. But what are you talking about though? Whatever. Okay, the transaction called, blah, blah, blah. You go on Twitter and claim to all your followers, OMG, I'm shaking. My art just sold for $12,000. Picture of the transaction. Okay, because everybody's scamming, right? And if you went to Twitter, doesn't that make you not anonymous anymore? Now they know your social media account, and they know and if they're smart, they know the address that stuff came from. If they're actually going to do the research, this is where it comes in again, doing your own research. If they actually want to do that research, they could see, okay, this amount got that, and where did this account get that $12,000 from? Again, if they're getting it from either they just had $12,000 sitting on the side, or they made it from the project. And if they made it from the project, then they have to send it from the project wallet to this account. And so people that actually care can track that information. Wow, I can't do any of that in traditional finance. No, you can't. No, you cannot. You cannot do any of that in traditional finance because it's hidden behind somebody's bank account or whatever the fuck they want to hide it behind, and you just can't see that information. But you can on blockchain. You can track it like a motherfucker. So, whatever. Your second account then puts the NFT on the market a second time, this time for 14,000 times. So, yeah, you try and do the same thing. Again, you can do these things, but same things happen in traditional finance, and you just can't track it as well. You know what I'm saying? Poor strangers now, and also it's your own fault for that's your fault for being greedy and trying to be well, I just want it for that. What is the purpose of you buying that thing? Just to flip it? Just for more money? Is that not your own fault then? Is it not your own fault if like you're only buying something for the speculative price of it going up and you're not buying it for its utility whatsoever? Yeah, it is. Then you're taking that risk on. You're taking on that risk and you're saying, I'm okay with this level of risk. Anybody who's actually into cryptocurrency will talk to you about that. And I'm like, yeah, you need to be okay with putting that much risk in. Never invest more than you're willing to lose. Constant thing said in cryptocurrency. If you're not willing to lose $14,000, $26,000 for that piece of art that you just purchased because you felt like, oh, it might go up, then you don't understand. Then you shouldn't be doing that. Point blank, period. But somebody who does have that much money to spend, I'm like, also, who is the poor investor that has $14,000 to just spend? I have never in my life just had $14,000 in my account waiting for me to just spend it on some stupid shit, or $26,000, whatever the fuck. It's never. So I'm like, who is this poor person that we're so worried about? Because that's not poor. Not in America. Not in most countries in the world then, if it's not in America, because we're like the richest. Like, who? Who is it? Who are we worried about here? Okay, but people, no, it's a poor investor. Okay. Using that artificial scarcity, so now they do understand a little bit of e-commerce. You just didn't want to put it all together. To drive speculation market, hurts most people except hedge funds, grifters, and the extremely lucky. I guess I'm the extremely lucky because I don't buy into stupid projects like that. If it's extremely lucky to have a fucking brain, which it is actually. Woo! Seriously though, NFTs are driven by hype. It depends on the project. Like, look, everything is driven by marketing. Everything is driven by marketing. Making NFT investors scammers super outspoken, obnoxious. Sure. I try to get people to buy so many of the NFT projects that I bought and stuff like that, right? Most people that I know that invest in NFTs and stuff like that don't fucking talk about it and don't tell people about it. But some of us are out there because I own a company that like utilizes the technology, and it actually has utilization. It's not just a profile picture, but like I know more than you, not whoever's listening, but this guy. This is why the tone of conversation around NFTs is so resentful to them. People are sick of being forced to interact with NFT hype beasts. You're not being forced, fam. You literally just choosing to like, wow, somebody else, like an advertisement came on. Like, you know what you're being forced to? Like when you're watching TV and there's an advertisement, you know what you're being forced to? Let's go. This is what you're being forced into in the traditional world. You know what I'm saying? Literally, while this person's saying that, you want to see force? You want to see force? This is Twitch. This is called force.
Don't recall.
Oh, well, let's try a few more channels. Let's see if we can get through. Oh, I might just get through everybody today. Man. It's not happening. This is like, wow. I wish that would be like the normal case of like,
hand in hand.
I wish that would be the normal case of like whenever I go to Twitch. Because like, that's like normally I never have that experience. And like, I would watch way more Twitch streamers if that was my actual experience on Twitch. But most of the time I go to somebody's Twitch or something like that. I try to click on their profile. And I'm just fucking shocked today, actually. I can't even make my point. But usually I go to one of these Twitch profiles. I'm like, oh, cool. That does sound like a cool stream. I click on the stream. And they forced me to watch an ad for the first like 30 seconds to a minute of the damn stream. That's being forced into something. Forced advertising for you to go and support whatever streamer or creator or whatever the heck. You're not being forced into any of that shit with blockchain. It's optional. But you got your point. You know,
not me, actually.
Get out of here now. But that's what I find this guy. I'm actually really surprised I was able to just like look at people's streams today on Twitch. Like, I don't know if my pop-up blocker is working or what. But yeah, the idea that you're not a consumerist for having your fucking iPhone, my guy, or whatever the heck, and that wasn't marketed to you, that's not why you have it, right? Sure. Questionable legality, haven for money laundering because crypto is largely... Also, if you're going to do any money laundering via crypto, you need to know the avenues that you can go to make your money disappear. I'm not going to mention those on stream, but there are certain places that you can go to make that money disappear, and it's done for specific reasons because people don't want to just be tracked via everything. You know what's even easier to money launder with? Cash. You know what the most money is laundered with in the world? Cash. Straight up. Did you know you can't put certain amounts of money just like in your bank account, whatever the heck, without it getting a flag? Did you know that? Did you know that crypto actually is regulated? Because this person was talking about crypto is not regulated and this and that at one of these portions. But like, fam, you have to actually know more. Some of your points are just stupid. Largely unregulated and anonymous. No, cryptocurrency actually is regulated. It actually is regulated. You actually do have to pay taxes on cryptocurrency. You actually can't do certain things with cryptocurrency. You can't make a project with just like, you can't just make a cryptocurrency and be like, I'm just going to give people money or whatever the fuck. Like, you need to be anonymous to do those type of things because it is regulated. Wow, go figure. And so people choose to be anonymous when they're doing those illegal activities around cryptocurrency because it is regulated. Mm-hmm. Might have learned something there. Gamers are angry because game publishers love the idea of using NFTs as a way to squeeze more money out of microtransactions. Buying a digital hat for your character is only worth anything because of artificial scarcity and bragging rights. NFTs bolster both of those. NFTs allow you to actually take your character from, a Sega game to a Nintendo game to a PlayStation game to just wear it as an AR product. It depends on that gaming company that you're giving that credit to. Also, what I would like to say about this whole point with gaming and stuff like that is that gamers have tried to do what NFTs are for years now. Gamers have actually tried to do this for decades. And most of the time, whenever gamers try to make an economy around those in-game items, if you try to just like, okay, I'm going to hand you this account. Did you know it's actually not legal for you to just be selling people different gaming accounts and stuff? Like, these things aren't legal. And if the gaming companies catch you, they will fucking fine you and sue you and all this other crazy shit. Gaming companies are now coming out and being like, yeah, you know what? Actually, we'll make it easier for you to sell those accounts. You want to have a Smurf account or whatever the heck, or this new account, or an account with that capsule over there, whatever the heck, we're going to make it an actual thing that you can now do. I don't want that, because I think you're going to squeeze more money out of me with these microtransactions. Fam, they are already squeezing money out of you with the microtransaction. You're too stupid to stop. So why do you care that now it's going to be more fluid and you can actually do more with it? You should probably embrace some fucking technology and like not be like, oh, it's all bad. It's all bad. I'm just going to keep the microtransactions that I got. That way I can't sell it. Much better to partake in the microtransaction system and never be able to sell your account to anybody and whatever the fuck. But if they catch you selling that account, they can sue you. Why not keep it that way? Right? Dumb. The computational cost of mining NFTs. Ooh. I love this argument because this is based on the blockchain, and most people that talk about the computational cost, the energy efficiency of mining an NFT, first of all, or minting an NFT. First of all, they're talking about the cost of minting an NFT. What they don't understand is blockchains oftentimes batch transactions. They batch a whole bunch of transactions. So when people are talking about, oh yeah, that minting that NFT costs this much, no. What happened was 10,000 transactions were processed in a matter of seconds, and it cost so much for those 10,000 transactions in that second. And the NFT was part of that transaction, part of that batch of transactions. There you go, from somebody who actually knows what the fuck they're talking about, but this guy doesn't. I'm verifying blockchain technology on the whole. Okay, fam. And guess what? On certain blockchains, it don't even cost that much. It's actually fucking carbon neutral, whatever the fuck, as most of these layer 2s are becoming. It's very energy intensive, though. And until our power grids are run with renewables, guess what? Our power grids actually produce excess energy. Did you know we actually produce excess energy? Look up how much Canada produces in energy per day. Look up how much excess energy. Look up how much excess energy United. Look this shit up before you say dumb stuff. Did you know that cryptocurrency mining is actually regulated in most United States states, and that you can't do it unless you have certain licensing and whatever the fuck, or you're only going to use so much of your energy and stuff like that at your house? Did you know that? You probably didn't. I'm talking to this guy, not you guys, whoever's listening. But like, it's just stupid shit like that where I'm like, please know more, because like, I don't know. This is the thing that I'll give the credit to these type of posts. So whenever I see posts like this, it does make me go, oh, is that true? And I go out there and I do research, and I probably do research like on each one of these topics, like an hour or something like that each, which, when that stacks up, there's so much hate out there that I've just done way more research than these people, and they keep spouting the exact same argument over and over again. I'm like, fam, you really don't know what you're talking about. Like, but wait until your sheep ass is told to do something, and then you're going to do it. This means we're burning more coal. more fossil fuels so that more grifters can grift artists and investors. Sure, fam. Sure, fam. And that's going to wrap up my segment today on this guy's an idiot. And most of these people are idiots, quite honestly. I'm like, it's tough to be like really kind to people that are that negative about something. And it's like, but you don't even know what you're talking about. And like, whenever we start talking about it, you want me to answer all these questions for you. Like, not even like, oh, I'm asking this question so that you can say this thing that I already know. You literally have fucking questions about the stuff because you haven't done that research. You don't have a problem with that? Wow. I'm just like, I just be like shocked at the fucking world when somebody's starting to cancel these transactions. Oh no, I'm killing the environment. Like, no, I'm not. You sound stupid for saying things like that. Did you know that every fucking tweet that you make costs energy? Did you know that me having my computer up right now costs energy? Do you know how much energy YouTube uses per year? Let's do this research. This is the last thing I'm going to leave you guys with. This is a fun fact that I found recently. At this rate, YouTube, over 1 billion viewing hours a day will consume over 600 terawatt hours a year. I believe it's called a terawatt hour. 2.5% of global electricity use. YouTube is 2.5% of global electricity use. 600 terawatt energy a year. Bitcoin. The report states that each Bitcoin transaction consumes blah, 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 blah. Let's go annually. We got to do annually. Bitcoin consumption per year. We'll do that. Around 91 terawatt hours. Wow. Look at that. So Bitcoin is like not even like 1/6 of the energy consumption of YouTube, but nobody's crying about YouTube. Well, that doesn't matter because most NFTs don't run on Bitcoin. They run on Ethereum. Let's look that up. $75 terawatt hours per year. Wow. Oh my God. Wow. So you're telling me that Ethereum uses less than Bitcoin and it's less than 1/6 still of fucking YouTube's energy consumption? Wow. Oh my God. Let's keep hating on NFTs because those are the cause of our problems. Really? Really, fam? Like, really? And that's like, that's one website. Let's dive into a little bit. Let's see where the majority of YouTube. I'm like, what would be a good search for this? YouTube libras from users by country. There you go. That'd be YouTube user statistics 2022 by country. Let's look this up. And now, I'm doing this really quickly. Usually whenever I do research, I don't accept one place's statistics or whatever the fuck. I need to find statistics from a whole bunch of places. I have done the YouTube research off stream, and it cross-checks. But I haven't done this specific portion of the YouTube statistics. I do know that the majority is from the United States and Western-facing countries, and that other countries don't even allow YouTube, period. So they either don't have the energy to support YouTube on the level that the United States does it, or they just whatever the fuck. So let's keep going. Video marketing dominates the content marketing industry today. YouTube, the pioneer video sharing platform and the second largest search engine, experienced a 4.9% growth rate in 2021, according to SEM Rush statistics. SEM Rush is like a search engine marketing place. So I've come from a marketing and advertising background. In 2022, the number of YouTube viewers is expected to hit 210 million in the U.S. alone as videos continue. Okay, so I'm looking for, let's get interesting YouTube statistics. YouTube generated 19.7 billion in revenue. Over 2.3 billion people worldwide use YouTube once a month. I'm looking for countries. Number of countries with localized versions of YouTube. 100 countries. But that's localized versions of YouTube, not YouTube itself. Hours of... I'm looking for different countries' usage of YouTube. Okay, here we go. India, the United States, Brazil, Japan, and Russia are the top 5 countries with... This is close to 1 billion or something like that. It's not really a breakdown that I want. I want like a wider breakdown of shit. Facebook above YouTube with more users, so probably that much more energy consumption. Guess what's next? Another Facebook company, WhatsApp. Another Facebook company, Messenger. Another Facebook company, Instagram, and then TikTok. But let's attack Bitcoin in Ethereum because people are making money off of that. How dare these once known as poor artists make money? I'm not getting a really good breakdown. I want like a breakdown of like the percentage of like users in each country or something like that. This is better. India, 22.5 million users, or 22. Yeah, I mean that's right, 22.5 million. United States, 19.7 million users. Brazil, I'm just putting that point in, 8.3 million users. Okay. Oh no, it's 83 million. Something wrong. Japan, 60 million. Canada, wow, it's like all these, other than India, Western fucking countries. And I'm like, India's arguable, right? Because they had that British influence until like 96 or 95 or something like that. They were controlled by the British until that recently. Yeah, that's a real thing that happened. India, the United States, Brazil, Japan, and India, because there's so fucking many people. But with way less people, because India has some billion people or something like that, right? Why is the United States anywhere close in this number? And if India has some billion people, why are only 225 million, a similar number to the United States, using it? So you mean the United States, in terms, like we have about 300 something million people in the United States. You mean the vast majority of people in the United States are using this thing and causing the energy consumption in the world to go up? Wow! You mean there's more people in the United States doing that than Brazil and Japan combined? Wow! You mean even with Russia combined? Wow! Maybe that's because Russia's using its own fucking YouTube type of source. Wow! Seriously though, these are the type of things that actually exist in the world. And I just wanted to point that out real quick. This is my last thing. They're like, yeah, people are going to complain about whatever they want to complain about. And you got the right to do that. You have the right to complain about whatever you want to complain about. But when you're choosing some of these things, and like the other thing is like cryptocurrency it's increasing. It's the fastest increasing technology that we have right now. Actually, it's the fastest fixing and like increasing technology that we have. Nothing is improving and increasing quicker than cryptocurrency. It's a fact. And when people are hating on it for like the fact that like over the last year, the vast majority of blockchains used for NFTs and stuff like that are actually carbon neutral or layer 2 solutions to Ethereum's energy consumption issue. Wow. Ethereum is already working on its energy consumption issue. Wow. Bitcoin is already working on its energy consumption issue. Wow. Oftentimes when people, they said that Bitcoin uses that 80 something terawatt hours a year. There's a large proportion of that, 20 or 30% or something like that, of those terawatt hours is actually renewable energy. So you need to take 20 or 30% off of that anyways. How much renewable energy is YouTube using? Let's look that up. And no, a bunch of videos on renewable energy, but like, no, like, yeah, it's not super easy to find that. I'm going to have to do like other searches and stuff like that specifically because it's not readily available information. Guess what? Because nobody's fucking complaining about it. Nobody's complaining about the fact that YouTube, all these other big corporations, banks, your grocery stores, whatever the fuck you like, Zara, Ulta, none of these places care about renewable energy and stuff like that, but cryptocurrencies are actually doing that. And like within such a short amount, they've been around for like 10 years and they're actually tackling all that stuff on a scale that's unseen. Imagine if 30% of all United States energy was coming from renewable energy. That'd be fucking phenomenal. We don't have that going down right now, but this is a sector where that is the case and it's growing year over year. You sound stupid as fuck arguing against that. You just do. I'm sorry I swore right there and got so loud about that. But it's really stupid argument. It's like, I'm gonna take the sports again. This team increased their win percentage by 30% year over year. Then they need 3 years to meet 100% win percentage. Are you really going to argue that? No, you're going to be supportive of fuck is that program. You're going to be like, that's a great program. They are doing their shit. You increase your shot, your throwing rate, whatever the heck, by 20 to 30% each year. That's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Any stock going up 20 to 30% a year, year over year, that's phenomenal. It's unseen, unheard of. It's unheard of. The vast majority of stocks go up like 1% or something like that a year. S&P 500, I think it can give you like 10% per year, like increase or whatever, like across all these different stocks and stuff. It's unheard of, folks. Wow. Just wow. But this person is really smart. Shout out to Fozzie Bear here and Noah Dies Slowly from Ignorance. I actually got to restart the stream and like do a whole set. I have to retitle this for YouTube because it was just a rant about people being stupid about NFTs and cryptocurrency when they could simply do more research. And like, again, you're free to do your own opinions and whatnot, but like when it can be dismantled and like when you don't do the research and you're using Twitter and Twitter, how much energy does Twitter use up a year? Oops. It'll fix this. I needed 2 ends there. Twitter energy consumption energy. How much energy does a tweet consume? Not just one tweet. I want to know the energy consumption annually. According to per tweet, it's like per tweet. It's like some like whatever the heck, but 0.02 grams of CO2 tweet per tweet. 0.02 grams of CO2. So all these people, right? So by the time, you need 16 grams for it to be a pound. By the time they get done being stupid, they've already put tons of CO2 into the atmosphere because who knows if we're actually doing anything that removes our carbon footprint here. 70% spends 30% less. Shrunk it. But I'm like, they do have Jack Dorsey in charge, or did. And so I'm like, I feel like Jack wouldn't just let it go to shit, but who knows? Twitter consumes approximately 100 joules. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, they're not going to tell you. It's going to take a lot of research for that. On Twitter, annual electricity consumption in China. 6.5 to 1 hours. Electricity. 4K. Germany. Oh, this might actually give some of the information. It's the last thing. So I'm just curious. Annual electricity. China. Oops. All the world's data centers. 205. Bitcoin. 143. Not according to what we just saw, but this could have gone up. I'm not gonna put it past going up. It's still not competing with fucking YouTube. That's the one thing. But everybody, like, that's just the thing. But like groupthink. That's my last point, I guess. My last point is that you know why so many people complain about that? Complain about Bitcoin and Ethereum? Because groupthink and because they don't think for themselves. They heard somebody else say that and somebody else made a complaint about it. Somebody else didn't like it. And so now they don't like it. But they're not going to do their own research and be like, well, what is that comparable to? None of them. Nobody is doing the what's it comparable to. It's like an actual hater and stuff like that. Like I could sit there and be like, what's that comparable to in traditional finance or the normal world? What companies have comparable or more energy consumption than Bitcoin and Ethereum? The argument might be something like, oh, well, I just don't like that energy consumption anyways. And it's like, but so then but what about these other companies? We're not talking about those other companies. It's like, fam, well, Bitcoin and Ethereum exist to help the entire world and make it so that people have a choice other than authoritative governments and stuff like that, totalitarian governments and like all this shit and all this bullshit. Like people have another option other than just having their life savings and stuff like that drained away at 10% a year, 20%, whatever the fuck we just faced last year. You have another option versus that. So, banking, everybody doesn't have access to banks. This gives people that option. This gives people that option to loans and stuff like that, which they don't get in traditional worlds. Like you just don't. You don't. It's so hard to get this type of shit. You need to be fucking wealthy. And now you can do that with cryptocurrency and stuff. So what's that worth? Is it worth a small fraction of YouTube? I think it's worth a small fraction of YouTube, especially considering that it's using renewable energy to do so. That's what I think. But you're allowed to hate. You're allowed to hate, so continue to hate.